Lawin Media Network,
bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawin Media Network.
The following program is produced by Lawin Media Network. The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely those of the individuals appearing on the show and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Lawin Media Network, its affiliates, sponsors, or partners. The content provided in this program is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Lawin Media Network does not guarantee the accuracy, completeness, or timeliness of the information.
Hello foodies, how are you doing today? Today we're going to discuss I, which is ISDA. And I hope that these dishes that we will present to you will be practical for you and doable for you, just like it was for me. So hang on, we're going to have a good time talking and discussing and showing to you some techniques for ISDA. This is Nancy Reyes Lumen of Commissary Kitchen at your service. Episode I couldn't really think of anything else except people would always say igado, which is pork and pork liver, and everybody is doing that. So I is for isda, and what we're going to do is to do the simple way of steaming fish. And you know, sometimes people think it's so hard to do because first of all, you need to have a steamer like this, and this my steamer is already angry. But we will be trying to do a steamed striped bass. Now, the striped bass that I bought is already clean, and you have to buy it fresh. It smells so good. No more gills and everything, and striped bass is so delicious. Actually, the only regret I had was they took out the fat, which is really for me what I'm always after when I buy striped bass. But what's important is you can already use the same platter that you will be cooking it in. Otherwise, it might be tough for you to transfer it, unless of course you put some underlining like this and some oil. Let's have some oil. So corn oil will be good, just to line your platter. And whatever you have, banana leaves or onion leaves from your garden, then use that. Or if not, then you can use your chopsticks. When you're eating in a restaurant, just get the chopsticks and try to create a what do you call that? A rack for it. Okay, if you don't have this kind. But it would also be important that when you choose the platter, the fish will really fit into it, and that it has some edge. Because you know the fish will create its own juices. So how do we start with a steam? Definitely you have to have a running boil for your steamer. And what we'll do is we will just add some salt inside, a little pepper. Sorry, I don't use white pepper. I don't know why. And then put in some ginger, also here by the head. These are all to make it aromatic. And what's important is that your fish will really have to be fresh. Okay? Maybe 1 or 2 pieces of garlic. Don't slice it anymore because we don't want garlic to be the prime flavor. We're just adding it just for the sake of a habit. And then fill it up with either your green onion leaves or your scallions. I happen to have scallions, so it will be sweet. Fill it up there, even here. Okay. Alright. Maybe dredge it with a little wine. Again, it's always all for making it fragrant. I'm going to add my mushroom powder. And most important is my oyster sauce. You can have garlic oyster sauce, Mamacita, or the plain oyster sauce of Mamacita, which are really very delicious. I will do that. And later, we will teach you a technique on how to apply sesame oil too. Okay? So, my steamer is already angry. This is my makeshift steamer, and I'm going to put it in there quickly. Cover. And let's wait for it. We'll also teach you how to check if the fish is already done. But I would give that about, that was a 2-pound striped bass. I'd give it about 20 to 25 minutes. I don't like to overcook fish. When we're back, we will do another dish, which is actually
Beyond Health and Wellness Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ.
Join us as we explore the journey to holistic well-being.
Uncover insights that inspire a healthier, happier life.
Join the pilot episode of Beyond Health and Wellness on September 27th.
So we were doing the steaming of the fish, and it can be any kind of fish, but the fatter the fish, the better. And make sure that sometimes you forget when you buy the fish whole and you clean it yourself. Don't forget to take out the scales. Kasi sayang naman if you're going to steam it and then you forget, you'll have to take out the scales, and they're not nice to eat when they're steamed. Okay? Although it will keep the skin more oily and more fresh. However, okay, what we do is when you have the platter, don't forget to put some oil underneath, or an oil and maybe some broth, just very little, okay? So that when the oyster sauce and if you want soy sauce will start steaming and watering, and then some of it will flow down from the fish, it can still be caught and it will not dry up. All right, let's continue with our steamed fish, and we're going to move on to another kind of fish preparation. Now, our fish is on the verge of being cooked, or I think it's already cooked. We will know. Here's a trick you can use. Get anything that is sharp, maybe like an ice pick or something sharp, or I would use my thermometer, because usually there's no guide for cooking fish that I would like to use, because everybody has its own guide for what fish should be. But here's something. Just insert a sharp pointed object into the thickest part of the fish, and if you feel that it is already hot, then the fish is done. Okay, and this one is very done, and it's very aromatic. I can smell it, so we will just shut it off. I cannot take the risk of taking it out right now, but this is now the very aromatic and fine tasting smelling fish. Now, we're not finished with that yet. I want to add a little more level up to this, and that is adding sesame oil. How do you add sesame oil? In last episode, in episode 8, we said whenever you want to add sesame oil, because it's a very thick and dense oil, you have to heat it up to smoking. So wait for this to really be smoking hot. And actually we should transfer the fish already, or just the steamer itself, so it will not cook any further. I can already smell and I can see that the sesame oil is smoking hot, and my fish is waiting. So once it's like this, just pour the sesame oil on the fish. There should be some crackling. There was none because I think my fish is kind of wet. But that's how you finish. You do your finishing of your fish, steamed fish. Choose a real fresh fish. Don't plan to steam fish that has been frozen. Go to the supermarket and look for the best. The good fish that are nice to steam are, of course, the garupa, lapu-lapu to us, and also striped bass. You can have pampano. You can even try bangus, but it just have some stuffing in it. Alright? So this is our steamed fish. We will let it cool a bit before taking it out. And I have an extra little tip for you on how a sauce that you can, a dip that you can use for it. And I want to dedicate this to the late Raymond Isaac, a very well-known photographer, fashion plate, and the favorite of so many models. He taught me this. He said, Nancy, just mix mayonnaise with oyster sauce for anything. And you know what I did? And you know what? It's delicious. So, Raymond, thank you to the memory of Raymond. And he was so nice. And there, you can use this now as a dip for your, wait. It's a mix of, it's very umami. That's how I can describe it. It's tangy, and at the same time, it's very pleasant, and the mouthfeel is so smooth. So, before we close up on our steamed fish, be sure to add your aromatics. You have your rice wine, 𝙀𝙥𝙞𝙨 wine, a little of the oyster sauce, and then fill it up with your aromatic herbs. You can, if you don't want it to be too Chinese, then you can put dill. You can even add basil if you want, you know. As we're just teaching you the steaming technique. And then, if you want it to be Chinese style, then you put your sesame oil really on smoking, and then just pour it over there. And this one can be, this my Raymond Isaac dip can go for any kind.
Are you ready for engaging conversations on education, teaching strategies, trends in the classroom?
Tune in to Teacher Talk, Live Chikahan, with your hosts, Teacher Cora and Dr. Claire.
In each episode, we'll dive into meaningful discussions, share insights, and connect with fellow educators.
Don't miss out on the fun and camaraderie. Grab your coffee and join us for some lively chikahan. Every Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Philippines.
Join us for a captivating new series where Lawin sits down with the trailblazers of the music and entertainment world. Discover the stories behind the faces and voices that shape our culture and community.
We will bring you exclusive interviews with industry legends and rising stars. Behind the scenes insights and get a peek into the creative processes and personal journeys. Artists and performers and their upcoming shows and events.
Stay tuned for more updates and sneak peeks. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our channel.
Alright, steamed fish does not always have to be Chinese. It can also be like the party steamed fish, where you have a big fish like let's say a red snapper, or a red lapu-lapu, or a, well, black lapu-lapu. Don't make it into a salad. It should really be steamed as it is, because in all its goodness, that's black lapu-lapu. That's the best and the prime kind of steaming fish. So if you have red red snapper, or well, yeah, the, what you call this, striped bass, or other fish that are available, drum, those that are meaty, but those that have white meat. Okay, what you do is you have the take it out from fillet it. Once you've steamed it, fillet it, cut it into bite-sized pieces or in salad pieces. Some would prefer to take out the skin. Now, if you're taking out the skin, don't throw the skin. Put a little cornstarch and a little baking soda or baking powder and fry it. And it can be fried, crunchy, crispy fish skin. Sayang eh, di ba? So anyway, to the meat of the fish, then you can already combine it with a little real mayonnaise and a little oyster sauce, as taught to me by Raymond Isaac, and maybe Tabasco if you want it to be on the with some heat, and add for me, if I would add a little wasabi, or mustard, French mustard. Make that, and then mix it gently with the fish, and then shape it again into a fish on a platter. And then there you go with the toppings, the egg yolk, the egg white, the chopped raisins, the pickles, making it very colorful, the shredded, the grated carrots, all that, and then the black olives. Then remember those when you had the parties, and this was like a centerpiece fish platter. During the 60s, it was very, very popular, even to the 70s. And I started not seeing it anymore in the 80s and 90s. So why not bring it back? Having a big fish is a privilege also when you have parties. Okay, so now that was the steamed fish. We can now proceed with the other preparations we made on ISDA. I'm so happy with the steamed striped bass because that's one of my favorite fish, except they took out the fat inside. So when you want to buy striped bass and you pay a good price for it, just tell them, no remove, okay? We're going to do another dish, and I would like to try to attempt to do bola. Now, fish balls. There are many horror stories about fish balls. It depends on how cheap you are when you bought the fish balls. But here we're using halibut or sole, okay, which is really good. And from the smell alone, you know, okay, what does fresh fish have to smell like? It has to smell like a very, very light, like when you go to the deeper part of the ocean and then you smell, that's it. It doesn't smell like fish, it smells like the breeze of seawater, brine, not even brine. And this one is so good, that's why it's so nice and it's high quality to use this kind of fish. And we will be using, what we will be doing is actually we're going to mash our fish. And guess what? We will only be needing very few ingredients, but I just wanted to show you. Traditionally, you would be using salt, potato starch, flour, a little baking soda, but we will put that all aside. I wanted you to see potato starch. Potato starch is higher in quality than the normal cornstarch because, like potato, it has a stronger binding quality. So if you want, and also when you want to thicken sauces, potato starch does not have any, it doesn't turn white or it doesn't become cloudy. Potato starch is clear. Alright, so what we will be doing is just, we're going to keep slicing this until we reach a very, very fine mashed fish. I know you're looking at one of the ingredients that is really very important to us now, that will save me from using all the other kinds of ingredients. I just need one, and that is my Mamacita Lumpiang Shanghai mix. Would you believe? Yeah, makes it so easy. Okay, so this is the hard part, making it into a mash, and then we will be boiling it in some kind of liquid. You need to slice it really till it's very fine. And what you need for fish balls or meat balls or shrimp balls or lobster balls is that you have a binder. And what will be our binder? None other than our Mamacita Lumpiang Shanghai. So if you have leftover chicken broth or shrimp broth, that's what you could use. And when you boil your fish balls into it, that can already serve as your soup. So you can have fish dumpling soup. They call bola-bolas dumpling also. Now you can see that it's not yet binded. Now I will apply my Mamacita. See, it separates. Now, good question is, can you still food process this? Yes, of course. But we will see how good it is if we just use our Mamacita seasoning. Let me put that here first. And I'm already boiling my broth. You can use just water if you want. You see, what's good with this is it already has a, I was reading it, it has cornstarch, garlic powder, little sugar, garlic salt, and black pepper. So what we will do now is we will try to mash this. I'd rather do it with my hands because this is where I can feel that it will be good, it will be well bound already, binded. A little more. For one pouch is good for 1.5 pounds of ground meat. So I have about 1 pound. Now you can add, let's say, ginger or onions to it. In fact, if you wanted to make fish siomai or shrimp siomai, this is how you start doing it. Okay. Now I want to first test how tasty this will be, so I'm going to just blanch this. Testing, testing. And it's already it can already hold its own shape. Of course, it should be more ground, but I'm just after the taste first, okay? Let's see. You can do this not even on water or broth, but you can also try to fry it and get fried fish balls. See, let's taste it. Let me taste it. A little more binding, so I'm going to add just a little more. You don't finish the whole pouch because this is only 1 pound of fish. Let me just add just a little potato starch. Imagine if you were doing this in your food processor, they will already be toasting white wine with this, right? But we want to do it the long traditional way without much help from too many gadgets. A little more. Oops. Wait, that's too much. It's too much. It's not as fine as it should be, but you see the technique is actually, if you notice that your fish mixture is not sticking to the sides of the bowl, then it will be good. So we take a spoonful to help shape it. Sometimes they call it quenelle. I don't want to pretend I'm a chef, but this is how they shape quenelles. Okay. Let's see, testing. Oh, make it mild. Alright, there. And try to keep the same size all the time. Here, this is how I'm doing it. Use a rounded spoon. Okay. Would be nice to add, let's say, green onion leaves or something, but well, this one I think is not thoroughly mashed. But let's see. There. So you can add, let's say, onion leaves if you want, but you have to slice them really, really small so that they do not create a space. So, you know, what's important is when you want something to really be sticking together, there should not be too much space. That's why you want to mash it. You can make bola-bola. But canals are nicer to look at, aren't they? And don't make it too thick so that they will all cook well. There. What can you use as sauce for this? You can have, well, if it was Chinese again, you can have your soy sauce and what you would use for, let's say, siomai, soy sauce and a little sesame oil. But if not, then I would like to try it with some mustard and like, you know, foreign Western style mustard and mayo, or mustard and I'd even like to try it with soy glaze, wasabi. I don't mind. Huh? So there. We have it. Now, if we have the time, we will show you also how to fry this really quickly and easily. So you already have your base, which is the fish, and then we can just try to fry this really crispy. Alright? Using our potato starch,
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories, from elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits. I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create magic together.
In a world cluttered with information, where truth is power, Lawin Weekly News stands apart.
We delve deeper, uncover facts, and bring stories to light. From political showdowns and economic triumphs to the pulse of the street and the heart of the community.
We capture the moments that define us, stories that challenge, inspire, and transform.
Tune in live Sundays, 8 a.m. Central.
hi. You know, I would like to do a shout out and a hello, say hello to somebody who gave us a comment during the Hainanese chicken episode, episode 8. Why? Because I mentioned rice and milagrosa rice, aromatic rice, and Mina Peña Hernandez, who is by herself, also a good home cook in the Philippines, and she said, milagrosa rice. She told me something. So this is out of context of our episode now, but I think it's important for us to learn the background of milagrosa rice. You know, milagrosa rice, as I was saying, I didn't know that this was the term for the fragrant rice. It's not jasmine rice just like that, but it is long grained rice that has a beautiful fragrance that's so appetizing. Anyway, here, itong kwento ni Mina Peña Hernandez. Teka. Milagrosa rice. Memories of my childhood. Yan po ang inaani before sa bukid ng lola ko in Aliaga, Nueva Ecija. Hello sa mga taga Nueva Ecija. Ang mga bigas nyo sana talagang ganyan din kabango. Wala na yung variety na yan sa province kasi mas konti daw po ang yield. Mabango po yung Milagrosa rice. So I said, can you talk more about it? I asked her. So she said, Milagrosa rice yung bigas na nakukuha namin sa lola ko nung bata pa ako hanggang early 80s. Habang sinasaing, mabango siya. Very distinct yung smell, different from the jasmine rice. Malambot pagluto na, parang malagkit. Cannot remember kung long or short grain. Basta pag yon ang sinasaing namin, we know it's Milagrosa because of the aroma. Kahit hilaw pa, mabango na siya. Kwento ng isang farmer na nakausap ko last year, yung Milagrosa variety, maliit po ang yield pag tinatanim nila. Madali din daw dumapa yon, hindi matibay. So when you say dumapa, yung rice, kasi rice is a grass. So yung kanyang rice blades, siguro kasi mabigat yung grain, so dumadapa ng gano'n. Kung nadapa, mababasa, mabubulok. Hindi, pag inani mo, bulok na, basa na. Okay? So madali din daw po dumapayan, hindi matibay. Kaya nag-stop na silang no. Then, nung nag-aral daw siya on rice farming sponsored by IRI, yung mga classmates daw niya, ito sumbong na foreigners from Vietnam and Thailand, binubulsa daw yung mga binhi ng palay. So, ano nangyari? Di sila na ngayon na nagpo-produce. Kaya tayo mga farmers, mamahalin natin yung ating mga own resources natin. Di pa tapos. Sabi ko, wow, what a story. Thanks so much, Mina. Sayang, no? Sana more farmers plant this as a high-class rice for the social. Kasi kung talagang farm to table, farm to the chef, di ba? And they appreciate this. Wow, you can sell it at a higher price, di ba? So, sabi, sa local ang sagot ni Mina, sa local farmers po natin, gusto nila yung mabilis mabenta. Masal po kasi ang binhi ng social na bigas. Yung free binhi naman ng Department of Agriculture, hindi nila masyadong type, kaya bumibili pa din sila. Ayun ang kwento ni Mina. Thank you, Mina. I learned so much from what you said about the farmers, about the rice, about the trading, about the quality. And, there's a solution. Ngayon, uso na, the farmers can have somebody who will help them or an NGO group that can encourage them to plant this, alagaan nila na hindi dumapa, tapos already, tinatanim pa lang nila, hindi pa nila inaani, meron ng ready bumili ng mga restaurant. Diba? So, it's just really a matter of connecting. That's why the Commissary Kitchen is not just to learn from our mistakes or to teach you from learnings, but it's also connecting people, connecting foodies for a greater purpose. So let's go back now to our fish quenelle or bola bola. Fish balls or fish quenelles that did not break because the binding was good enough using our Mamacita Lupian Shanghai mix, where you don't need to put any more seasonings because it is already tasty by itself. So we have quenelle or what they call dumplings. And if you want this further, you can even freeze it and then fry it. Okay. Or you can make a soup out of it. But I'm sorry, I haven't yet removed the oil from this, but here. So this is a good comfort food for those who are feeling low. You can have that. It's very soft and easy, especially for the elderly. They can easily chew this or just swallow it, especially like if you have sore throat. This is the perfect kind of dish that you can serve to them. Also this one, like our fish. Maybe we have room for one more dish or one more technique. Let's try if we can make a very quick fried crispy fish using our quenelle or our fish mix. So it calls for, this one calls for, we already mixed this with our mamacita lumpia Shanghai seasoning. So normally it would be 1 part of potato starch with 1 part of flour. Okay, but those who really want it to be crispy, they use half flour and a lot of potato starch. And very little but very helpful baking soda. It activates the starch. Let me heat some oil. Estimate that at 350. Oh, I need some of the soda. We need a little soda. Yeah. So aside from baking soda, we can even add beer or soda. We can control the thickness of this, and we don't need really eggs to bind it, but we can make this into like that, flat ones. Try to have it, try to do the pieces in equal sizes. Okay, this is our test. How do you know if your oil is already hot? If you don't have, well, you can see that the bubbles are not yet there at the edge of the knife or whatever you put in there, but it's starting to. Okay. So the secret of really crunchy ukoy or fish fritters would really be in the trio of ingredients: potato starch or corn starch, flour, and a little baking soda. Then if you want, you can add soda or beer. Not yet. It's not yet there, but I want to test it. Let me see if it will work with the, okay. Alright. What you could do is also, what the Chinese would do is they have one hot and one very hot pan on fire. So one would, first you can cook it, first you can try to do it on you can try it first on 350. And then take it out and fry it again. Sometimes that's the secret of why is that, why are some of the things that in the Chinese, why is it so crispy and it's so quick? Well, because they have already ready pans that are going to be hot and very hot. When I say hot, that's 350. Very hot would be about 400 degrees. So we are just doing this as an extra. We went through the using mamacita lumpia Shanghai seasoning for our dumplings, and with the extra, I just thought of doing our fish fry, make it crunchy. what you have to do is, again, remember, try to have the same sizes. Okay, same size. And you make your batter last minute. And then if you're still not satisfied with the crunchiness, take it out and then let it cool for maybe 1 to 2 minutes, and then put it on a hotter oil, like 375. Okay. So now let's see. That's really crunchy. This Commissary kitchen doing the right thing. Let's test it. Always nice to have paper to drain the oils. You can tell it's crunchy already. So you don't need to refry it. So that's the secret of, and that's the goodness of potato starch. And keep the temperature of your oil the same. So, before we end, here in our episode I for ISDA, let me share with you a life value that's very important to me. Sometimes when you're in traffic and you see a car with a fish, that means that that person, the driver or whoever put that, is a believer of Jesus Christ. And that stands for fish, because like we are the fish that the apostles and the people that Jesus instructed and taught to gather as many fish in your net to become believers. That is what we are. We are the fish. And would you believe that in the Sea of Galilee, where the fishermen, the first apostles worked, there would be like tilapia. I actually wanted to make tilapia dumplings, but I prefer to use sole. But then, remember that every time you remember a fish or see a drawing, remember that these are symbols of being a Christian. With that, I would like to end and again invite you to the forthcoming episodes here in Commissary Kitchen at your service. This is Nancy Reyes Lumen, having fun with letter I, episode I, and wishing you all the best. And I hope that you learned some of the techniques here that you will be applying in your next meal. Goodbye. God is good. Teka, I want to get in. Okay, before we end, really, thank you for watching that. I want to say hello to somebody who's a faithful follower and advisor to Commissary Kitchen, none other than Maridel Mengito Anama. And thank God that you recovered from your hospital stay and you're on your way to recovery. Thank you very much. But she had some very interesting comments. Of course, what I did just didn't want to be too pretentious about being a chefy, but that's really what we shape. The almond shape like that is called quenelle. And in Japanese, that is the shape of fish. That's why when they do the nigiri, it's also shaped like that, right? Also, she said, is cornstarch okay? Yeah, cornstarch is okay, but it's okay to use, but go a little higher and keep some potato starch in your pantry, because when you want to thicken something like a sauce, or let's say soy sauce, or a ginger garlic white sauce, it's clearer and it's not cloudy when you use potato starch or tapioca starch. That's what they call the wonder powder before, right? And that's almost a 50% guarantee that whatever you're frying, like ukoy, it's really going to be crispy. And another thing is, she said, use tempura batter. Yes, that is actually also the best solution, but we're trying to go through the traditional path and avoiding buying things that are specialized for such a procedure, but based only on what you have in your pantry. So cornstarch, flour, baking powder would be good. Thank you. We got a wow from attorney Eileen Ligot Dizon. Thank you very much. She's a foodie, certified foodie, because she knows good taste, but she's not gaining weight. So I don't know why. Maybe it's because she wears 3-inch high heels every day and she can carry her weight. Anyway, so back to Maridel, and back to the question on the batter for frying. Another trick you can do is mix the batter, but don't put in the you can add in already your baking soda, but don't put in the liquid yet. Or if you are already putting in the liquid like beer or some stock, keep it in the fridge until you're very very ready to fry. The same way that the Japanese who would do tempura, they have the tempura batter, but they use partly cold water and also ice to keep the batter uh, from puffing up too much and losing the gas, because baking soda reacting with the flour and all the other ingredients there produces gas that makes it crispy, because the hot oil is activated when there's gas and it becomes more crispy. That's so much physics that I can share with you now. But here's to thank you, Maridel, for always giving us your comments. Thank you to Mina, Peña, and Hernandez for your beautiful story on Milagrosa. And thank you to Attorney Eileen for the wow comment. See us again next week for another episode. This time we will do J. Okay? God is good. Bye.